Do you have any examples from kind of your own life where the pressure of being a prosecutor, you're public, you need to make sure that you close these cases? Did you ever find yourself kind of where this prosecutor was, where you're pushing, there's pressure, and then you kind of get halfway down the pipe and you're like, no, that what's here is not here, that you're pushing too hard on something and then you realize the case isn't here? Or by the time it got to you, these things were pretty well wrapped up and you needed to bring it home?
Yeah, the latter. What people usually don't know is how many hoops you have to jump through before you're even walking into a courtroom with a jury. So you review the case initially, and then you have to decide whether or not you reject or you file it. Right then and there, a lot of cases can go out the window. Not necessarily permanently, but you look at the case, you say, we need more of this, we need more of that. Further investigation is not uncommon. Okay, then you file the case, but you don't file it unless it looks like you're going to have a case that is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Then you go to a preliminary hearing, and a preliminary hearing is a low bar. Still, it's another opportunity to weed out the wheat from the chaff. And you wind up seeing whether or not your witnesses hold up. For example, if you have a case that hinges on an eyewitness or hinges on the credibility of a particular witness, it's a good place to put them up on the stand and see how they do, and see if you wind up with too many questions about this person. That can be the end of a case right there as well. You then have pretrial motions. And the defense brings motions to exclude certain evidence and maybe they bring up evidence that they found with their investigator that impeaches a key witness. That can be the end of a case as well. And all of these things have happened to me. So by the time you wind up in trial and you've picked a jury, I have never had it happen. Well, once. Yes, it happened to me once. That's funny. Okay, I'll tell you that story.
Please. This is why I ask questions.
This is history too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this could only happen in the misdemeanor land that I was in. I was in the municipal court in Beverly Hills. I was a young DA. I'd only been in the office for about a year. And the system they had for handling misdemeanors, because these are really low-level cases, is that it would get filed and go straight to trial. There was no preliminary hearing. You're not entitled to one for a misdemeanor. And we really wouldn't even see the case until we were picking a jury. So I put on the case. It was a charge of malicious mischief in one of the few hotels in Beverly Hills that was pretty seedy. It's no longer there.
Dang.
Yeah. So I put on my witness and they make the case that they do and they testify and it seems okay. You know, he saw this person destroy some piece of property, threw something through a window, I think it was. And then the defense puts on their client, and I realize, and puts on a couple of witnesses, their client and another witness. And I realize, oh, this is not it. I am not convinced by my own case. I'm not convinced by my own witnesses. So I went to my boss and I said, I have to dismiss. And he goes, you can't dismiss. You have to present this to the jury. They get to dismiss. They get to decide. You can't. You know, it's not, you don't have that power. I say no, basically, is the bottom line. Okay. Well, maybe I can't dismiss, but I can tell the jury what I think of this case. And so I stood up and told the jury. Now, you could find that he's guilty for this, this, and this reason. Personally, I would not do that. Personally, I don't buy his story. Personally, I think you should acquit. I really, really do. Please do. The defense attorney got up and said what she said. Basically. The defense attorney was a good lawyer, but, you know, what does he need to say at that point? And the jury came back in 10 seconds, not guilty. And I said, thank you.
Now, did you hear anything about that? Or like you said, oh, you just went back and you're like, didn't go our way, boss. We'll see you later.
Exactly. That's all I had to say. I mean, justice was done. You know, the defendant was not convicted. The defendant got to walk out the door, literally walk out the door. And he had a public defender, so he didn't even have to pay for it. So, you know, I'm sorry that he got put through the miserable experience of having to be arrested and go to trial. I didn't have any control over that. I did control what I could.